In a village where the river bends, there stood a small pottery house. Inside, an old man named Master Chen worked at his wheel. His hands were wrinkled, stained with decades of clay. The wheel turned slowly, steadily, as it had for 50 years. Master Chen's pottery was known throughout 3 provinces, not because it was perfect, but because each piece carried something true. Every morning he arrived before dawn. He prepared the clay, set the wheel, and began to work. His movements were neither fast nor slow, just constant. One could set their clock by Master Chen. At sunrise, the wheel would begin to turn. At sunset, it would stop. People said he had been doing this since he was a boy. They said he learned from his father, who learned from his grandfather. They said his hands knew clay better than words. But what they did not know was this: Master Chen had not always been this way. One autumn afternoon, a young potter named Lin arrived at Master Chen's door. His clothes were dusty from travel. His eyes were red from crying. "Master Chen," he said, his voice breaking, "I have traveled for 3 days to find you. I need your help." Master Chen did not stop his wheel. He gestured for the young man to sit. Lin sat, but could not stay still. "I had a pottery studio in the eastern city," he began. "For 5 years I built it. I worked day and night. I created my best pieces there. Customers came from everywhere." His hands trembled as he spoke. "Last month, a fire destroyed everything. All my work, all my tools. 5 years, gone in one night." The wheel continued to turn. "I tried to rebuild," Lin continued, tears now flowing freely. "But the landlord sold the property. The city officials would not give me another permit. Every door I knocked on closed." He slammed his fist on his knee. "Why? Why did this happen to me? I did everything right. I worked hard, I was honest, I hurt no one." Master Chen finally spoke. "Come," he said quietly. "Stand beside me." Lin stood beside the wheel. Master Chen was shaping a vase. It was beginning to take form. Tall, elegant, beautiful. "What?" Master Chen said. The vase rose under his hands. It was almost complete. Just a few more moments and it would be perfect. Then, without warning, the clay collapsed. The vase fell into itself, becoming a shapeless lump. Lin gasped, "Master, your vase!" But Master Chen's face showed no anger, no frustration. He simply stopped the wheel, looked at the collapsed clay, and began to gather it into a ball. What will you do?" Lin asked. "I will make something else," Master Chen replied calmly. "But you worked so hard on that vase." Master Chen began kneading the clay. "Yes," he said, "and the clay is still here." He placed the ball of clay back on the wheel. This morning, this same clay was going to be a bowl. At noon, I decided it would be a vase. Now tonight, perhaps it will be a jar. The wheel began to turn again. "The clay does not care what it was going to be," Master Chen continued. "It only knows what it is now." Lin watched as the old man's hands began shaping again. You're not angry? Not disappointed?" "Why would I be angry at clay for being clay?" Master Chen asked. Lin fell silent. Master Chen's hands moved steadily. "When I was young, like you, I tried to control everything. The temperature of the kiln, the moisture in the air, the speed of customers, the opinions of critics." A small bowl began to form under his hands. "I exhausted myself trying to hold the whole world still, and still, pots cracked, customers left, critics complained." "So what changed?" Lin asked. "I stopped trying to control the clay, and I started listening to it." Master Chen stopped the wheel. He pointed to 3 objects on his shelf. "See that blue vase? It cracked in the kiln. I could not prevent it. That is the first type of thing. Things I cannot control. He pointed to a simple cup. See that cup? The glaze ran too thin on one side. I was distracted that day. I made a mistake. That is the second type. Things I could control, but did not. Finally, he pointed to a teapot, beautiful and whole. And that teapot, everything went right. The clay was good, the kiln was perfect, my hands were steady. That is the third type. Things I controlled well. He looked at Lin. Young potter, which type fills your mind? Lin thought. The first type, the fire, the landlord, the officials, things I could not control. And how much time do you spend thinking about them? All my time, Lin admitted. Every hour, every day. I replay it. I ask why. I imagine what if. I curse fate. Master Chen picked up the cracked blue vase. This vase is broken. I spent 3 days making it. It cracked on the final hour. I can spend the rest of my life angry at this crack. He set it down. Or I can spend my time making the next pot. He placed a lump of fresh clay in Lin's hands. Feel this, he said. Lin held the clay. It was cool, damp, heavy. Is this clay responsible for your fire? Master Chen asked. No, Lin said. Is this clay angry about your studio? No. Does this clay care about your permits? No. Then why should you let those things live in your hands when you work? Lin looked down at the clay. His hands were shaking. Master Chen placed his old, steady hands over Lin's trembling ones. The clay can feel your anger, your grief, your resentment, and it will hold that shape. He gently guided Lin's hands, helping them still. But if you let those things go, if you come to the clay with empty hands, it will become something new. Master, how do you know these things? Master Chen walked to the window. The sun was setting behind the mountains. 30 years ago, he began, I had a son. Lin's eyes widened. His name was Wei. He was 17, talented, more talented than I ever was. He could make clay sing. Master Chen's voice remained steady, but softer. We were preparing for the Imperial exhibition. It was the greatest honor. We worked for 6 months. Wei created a set of porcelain vessels so beautiful, even I wept when I saw them. He paused. The night before we were to leave for the capital, Wei went to the workshop to check on the pieces one final time. The old man's hands gripped the windowsill. There was a lantern, an accident. The workshop caught fire. Lin stood frozen. Wei did not come out. The room filled with heavy silence. For 3 years, Master Chen continued, I did not touch clay. I could not. My hands would shake with rage, at fate, at the gods, at the lantern, at myself. He turned back to face Lin. I spent every day asking the same question you ask now. Why? Why me? Why him? Why that night? What brought you back? Lin asked quietly. Master Chen walked to his wheel. He placed his hand on it. One morning, I was walking past the river. I saw a child playing in the mud. He was making small animals, laughing, creating. I watched him for an hour. He would make a horse, it would collapse. He would laugh and make a bird, it would fall apart. He would laugh again and make a fish. Master Chen smiled faintly. He was not angry at the mud for falling. He was not cursing fate for gravity. He was simply making the next thing. I went home. I prepared clay. I sat at the wheel, and I said to myself, I cannot bring back Wei. I cannot undo the fire. I cannot change the past. He met Lin's eyes. But I can make the next pot. Master Chen sat back at his wheel. "Stay with me for 1 week," he told Lin. "I will teach you what the clay taught me." Lin stayed. On the first day, Master Chen gave him a task. Make a bowl. When it is almost complete, collapse it, then make it into a cup. Lin struggled. His heart resisted destroying his own work. On the second day, make a vase. If it cracks in the kiln, do not throw it away. Fill the cracks with gold. On the third day, make something badly on purpose, then make it again better. On the fourth day, make nothing. Sit with the clay. Just hold it. Feel it. Let it teach you patience. Each task was harder than the last, but slowly something in Lin began to shift. On the seventh day, Master Chen asked, "What have you learned?" Lin looked at his hands. They were covered in clay, but they were no longer shaking. "I learned," he said slowly, "that the clay does not hold on to what it was, only what it is." Master Chen nodded. "I learned that control is an illusion. The kiln will do what the kiln does. The fire will burn. The clay will crack or hold." "And?" Master Chen prompted. Lin took a deep breath. "I learned that I cannot control the fire that took my studio. I cannot control the landlord. I cannot change what happened." He looked at the lump of clay before him. "But I can control what I do next." Master Chen smiled for the first time. "Then you are ready to be a potter again." Years passed. Lin opened a new studio, not in the eastern city, but in a small village by the coast. It was simpler than his first, smaller, but it was his. He taught students there, and to each one he told the story of Master Chen and the clay that did not care what it was going to be. When Master Chen passed away at the age of 93, they found words carved into the base of his pottery wheel. "You cannot stop the fire. You cannot hold the river. You cannot make the clay remember what it was, but you can choose what you make next." Lin placed those words above the door of his studio, and every morning when his students arrived frustrated, angry, or heartbroken by things beyond their control, he would point to those words. Then he would hand them clay, and he would say what Master Chen once said to him. "The clay is still here. What will you make?"